Once upon a time, in a small village nestled between lush green hills and flowing rivers, there lived a girl named Amina. Amina was a kind-hearted and loving child, with eyes that sparkled like stars and a smile that could light up the darkest night. She was born with a disability that made it difficult for her to walk, so she relied on crutches to move around. Despite her challenges, Amina was always cheerful and full of life. She cared deeply for her mother, Adissa, and father, Kwame. Adissa was a gentle and nurturing woman who loved Amina with all her heart. She spent her days caring for the household and supporting Kwame in his work. Kwame, on the other hand, was a stern and hard-working man. He was a farmer who toiled in the fields from dawn until dusk to provide for his family. However, Kwame was not happy with Amina. He had always wanted a strong and able-bodied child who could help him in the fields and carry on the family name. Kwame felt ashamed of Amina's disability and often blamed her for their misfortunes. Despite her father's cold demeanor, Amina adored him. She would often wake up early to help her mother with chores and prepare breakfast for Kwame before he left for the fields. Amina's love for her parents was boundless, and she always tried to make them proud, especially her father. She would greet him with a smile every evening when he returned home, hoping to see a hint of approval in his eyes. But Kwame's heart remained hardened. One day, while working in the fields, Kwame was visited by his old friend, Jumo. Jumo was a wealthy merchant who traveled from village to village, trading goods and making deals. As they talked, Kwame confided in Jumo about his struggles and his dissatisfaction with Amina. Jumo, noticing Kwame's frustration, saw an opportunity. He made a proposal that would change their lives forever. "Kwame, my friend," Jumo said, "I can see that you are troubled. I have an offer for you. Let me take Amina with me. I will give you a substantial amount of money in return. With this money, you can expand your farm and improve your life. I can provide Amina with a comfortable home and take care of her needs." Kwame was taken aback by the proposal. He loved his daughter in his own way, but the offer was tempting. The thought of a better life for himself and Adissa was alluring. He believed that Jumo, with his wealth and resources, could give Amina a life that he could not. After much contemplation, Kwame made a heart-wrenching decision. That evening, Kwame returned home with a heavy heart. He called Adissa and Amina into the small living room. With a solemn expression, he explained his decision. "Amina, my dear," Kwame began, trying to steady his voice, "Jumo has offered to take you with him. He will provide you with a comfortable home and take care of you. In return, he will give us money to improve our lives." Amina's eyes widened in shock and disbelief. Tears welled up as she realized what her father was saying. "But, father, I want to stay with you and mother. I want to be with my family," she pleaded, her voice trembling. Adissa, equally heartbroken, tried to reason with Kwame. "Kwame, how can you do this? Amina is our daughter. She belongs with us." But Kwame was resolute. "This is for the best, Adissa. Jumo can provide for her in ways we cannot. She will have a better life with him." The following morning, Jumo arrived with his cart. Amina packed her few belongings, tears streaming down her face. She hugged her mother tightly, clinging to her warmth and love. Adissa whispered words of comfort and reassurance, though her heart was breaking. When it was time to leave, Amina turned to her father. "Goodbye, father. I hope one day you will be proud of me," she said, her voice filled with sorrow. Kwame watched silently as Jumo helped Amina into the cart. As they drove away, Amina looked back at her home, the place where she had grown up and where she had hoped to make her father proud. The journey to Jumo's home was long and filled with uncertainty. Amina felt a deep sense of loss and fear, not knowing what the future held for her. Jumo's home was a large, well-kept house in a bustling town. He had many servants and lived a life of luxury. Despite the comfort and care provided, Amina felt lonely and out of place. She missed her mother dearly and longed for the simple life she had left behind. The new surroundings, though grand, felt empty without the love and warmth of her family. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Amina adjusted to her new life as best as she could. She continued to be kind and helpful, earning the affection of the servants and even Jumo himself. Despite her sadness, she remained hopeful and strong, believing that one day she would be reunited with her family. Back in the village, Kwame and Adissa's lives had changed. The money Jumo had given them allowed Kwame to expand his farm and hire additional workers. Their financial situation improved, but the house felt emptier without Amina's laughter and presence. Adissa's heart ached with the absence of her daughter, and she often found herself staring into the distance, hoping to see Amina return. Kwame, too, felt the weight of his decision. The guilt gnawed at him, and he often found himself thinking about Amina. He missed her cheerful greetings and the love she had always shown him despite his coldness. Kwame realized that no amount of money could fill the void left by his daughter's absence. One day, a severe drought struck the village. Crops withered, and water became scarce. The villagers struggled to survive, and Kwame's farm was no exception. Despite his expanded land and resources, Kwame found himself facing hardships once again. The money he had received from Jumo was quickly dwindling, and he began to understand the true cost of his decision. Meanwhile, Amina's life with Jumo was stable, but her heart remained heavy with longing for her family. She often thought about her mother and father, wondering how they were faring. One day, while out in the town with one of Jumo's servants, Amina overheard a conversation about the drought affecting her village. Concerned for her family, she decided to write a letter to her parents, hoping it would reach them. When the letter arrived, Adissa's heart soared with joy and sorrow. She read Amina's words aloud to Kwame, who listened with a heavy heart. Amina wrote about her new life, her longing to be with them, and her hope that they were safe and well. The letter rekindled Kwame's love and regret for his daughter. He realized that he needed to make amends and bring Amina back home. With renewed determination, Kwame and Adissa set out on a journey to find Jumo and bring their daughter back. They traveled through harsh conditions, facing many obstacles along the way. Their love for Amina drove them forward, and they refused to give up. After many days of travel, they finally arrived at Jumo's home. Amina, who had been waiting and hoping for this moment, rushed out to meet them. She embraced her parents tightly, tears of joy streaming down her face. Adissa and Kwame held her close, their hearts filled with relief and happiness. Jumo, witnessing the heartfelt reunion, realized the depth of the family's bond. He approached them and said, "I see now that Amina belongs with her family. I will not stand in your way. Take her home and cherish her love." With Jumo's blessing, Amina returned to the village with her parents. The villagers, who had once shunned her, welcomed her back with open arms. They had come to understand the true meaning of family and acceptance. Amina's return brought new hope and unity to the village. Back in their home, Amina's laughter once again filled the air. She sang her songs, played with her friends, and helped her parents in any way she could. Kwame and Adissa vowed never to let societal pressures dictate their actions again. They promised Amina that they would stand by her, no matter what. Through their journey, the family learned that love and acceptance were more valuable than any amount of money. They realized that true happiness came from being together and cherishing each other's strengths and weaknesses. And so, Amina, Kwame, and Adissa lived happily, their hearts forever intertwined by the bonds of love and family.